Welcome to Intro to iOS, brought to you by Lambda School. In this lesson, we are going to be giving you an overview of iOS development, and more specifically Xcode, the tool used for iOS development. By the end of this lesson, you will have created your very first iOS application. So, if you haven't already, open up the App Store, search for Xcode, and make sure that you have it installed on your computer. So, what is Xcode? Well, Xcode is what we call an IDE, which stands for an Integrated Development Environment. In layman's terms, this means that it's a one-stop shop for writing, testing, and debugging code, running your apps, and submitting them to the App Store. Now, if you already have Xcode downloaded, let's go ahead and launch it. When it finishes launching, you'll see a few options to get you started. We are going to get started with a new Xcode project, so let's go ahead and click that option. Now, we see that Xcode is asking us to select a template. For all of our projects, we are going to use the single view app template, which gives us the bare bones setup that we need. Now you'll see that there are other options here for creating games, augmented reality apps, and even a messaging app. Now, go ahead and click Next. And here we are going to put in our product name, which in our case is going to be our flashlight app. Okay. Next, we can assign this project to a team. And what this team is it's the team that this application will be deployed under if we were to ever push it to the App Store. Now, if you're new to development, you probably don't have an assigned team, so you can go ahead and leave it as none. In my case, I'm going to have it set to Lambda. Now, we need to create an organization name, which can be whatever you want. In my case, it's just my name. And then we have our organization identifier. And you can see our bundle identifier is then a combination of our product name and our organization identifier. And this bundle identifier is the way that your application is identified in the App Store. Okay. Lastly, we're going to select Swift as our development language. If you open the picker, you'll see that there's another option in there, Objective-C. For the intro course, we're only going to be using Swift, but in Lambda's full-time iOS program, you will learn some of the basics of Objective-C. Okay. Make sure these three checkboxes here are unchecked, and then hit Next. I'm going to go ahead and save my project here to my desktop just so that it's easy for me to find, but you can go ahead and save yours wherever you want if you want to set up some sort of development file where you can store all of your projects, as long as you can get back to them in the future. Okay, so I'm going to hit Create here. All right, so now that we've successfully set up our project, let me give you an overview of what we see here in Xcode. Now, I will note Xcode is an extremely large and powerful application, and today we are going to be covering some of the basics to get you started. Throughout this course and throughout the full-time course, you'll become much more familiar with Xcode's capabilities. So don't sweat it if you feel overwhelmed with all of these buttons. You'll eventually go through all of them. So, here at the top left, you'll see that we have a play button. This button is used to run our code. You'll also see here to the right, we can select which device we would like to run our code on. Mine is set to the iPhone XR. Now, over on the right of the screen, we have buttons that will allow us to manage our workspace by toggling different panes on and off. Okay, so we've got our left pane, we've got our console, and we've got our right pane here. Okay, now, our console here at the bottom, if we have that set up, this is used for error messages, logs, and debugging, and we'll be using it a little bit later. So now that we have the basic layout of Xcode, let's get started with our app.